I'm really hoping there's no cops out, because this is the car that I'm gonna go to jail. I think this is it. This is the one. All right, let me tone it down a little bit and actually maybe tell you guys what I'm driving right now. This is a 2017 Corvette Z06 C7 body style. This particular car is not a Z07 package car, but the owner does have a couple mods on it. Cold air intake, full exhaust system. This car is right at 700 horsepower, but even if you bought it stock, you were at 650 horsepower, 650 torque. I don't know of too many cars, if any, that have like a 1-to-1 ratio horsepower to torque. So it's got a 6.2 liter V8 with a blower sitting on top of it, and that's where all that power and torque comes from. The car only weighs about 3,500 pounds, so I'm in something that's similar to weight as my GT3 was, but almost 300 more horsepower. That is... First and second gear are pretty much useless. I'm just spinning tires the whole way through first and second. But third gear is where the power comes into play, and it is a lot of power. I mean, an insane amount of torque and an insane amount of horsepower. Most cars, you want to drop the gears pretty low to get your power out. Like, that's where it's at. This thing, anywhere in the gears, I'm fine. Like, I can be in fifth gear and put my foot down and it throws my head back in the seat and I go. So I've reviewed all kinds of cars on the channel, but one thing I really haven't done a whole lot of is American muscle. My favorite car that I've ever personally owned was my C6 Z06. There was like 600 horsepower, all bolt-ons, and that car was amazing, but it was a piece of shit. I'm comfortable saying that now that I've experienced, you know, other cars and European cars and stuff like that. Chevy's interior quality, at least then, was shit. It's still pretty bad. I'll get to that in a second. But my C6 Corvette was like this plastic, literally just a shitty car. From the Corvette I owned to this one is like a flip phone to an iPhone. I mean, it is crazy how much tech they piled in here. Now, by no means is this a luxurious interior. It's still all plastic. The leather is still pretty shitty quality. You're not gonna be able to compare this to like a European built car, you know, Mercedes, Porsche, Maserati, stuff like that. However, performance-wise, this beats pretty much anything that they offer. And this car brand new was 85 to like 120, and it's fighting with cars up to like $600,000. But if you're actually in the market for one of these, you're most likely looking into Shelby GT350, Challenger Hellcat. There's quite a few cars in there, but the Corvette does something that the Shelby and the Hellcat don't do, in my opinion, and that is handle. So the Shelby, I just literally got out of a Loner GT. I have driven the GT350 on the channel, and it's a great car, don't get me wrong, but it feels a little primitive when it comes to handling. The suspension setup is not what I want it to be. The way the chassis rolls, not really where I want it to be. The Hellcat's even worse. I mean, the thing feels like a boat when you're driving. It's just this huge car, and I really don't think the chassis is set up for that kind of power. It's a straight line car like most American built muscle cars are. The Z06, it handles. It really does. I'm on the same roads that I review a lot of these cars on, and I am just as comfortable throwing this thing into a turn at 110, 120 as I was with the GT3 RS I reviewed. That's saying something, because it's like the GT3 RS is the ultimate handling car in my opinion, and while this thing doesn't quite feel as precise, it's precise enough. I'm comfortable, like I would be comfortable on a track with this car. I would not want to take a Hellcat on a track. I just feel like that's a bad idea. So there is one glaring issue with this car, and I'll just show you. I have the seat all the way back, all the way down, and getting in and out is not the most fun thing for me to do. I know I complain about this in like all the cars I drive, but Chevy, you couldn't have made it a little bit bigger. I'm not that tall. I'm like right at 6'5". I know Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear and now Grand Tour, he's like 6'5". Like, I guess 99% of you guys are never gonna have this issue, but besides Porsche and Audi, for whatever reason, everyone just makes their cars so damn small. And the C7, I think, is actually smaller than the C6, because I fit in my C6 no problem. This one's a little bit of a struggle. I'm comfortable in it, but I wouldn't be for like long road trips or every single day. If I was driving it on the weekends for like an hour or two at most, I think I could live with it, but definitely wouldn't want to daily drive it. I'm just not very comfortable in it. I don't know if there's anything I can do to the seats to give myself some more room here, but... And it's not just that I don't fit. The leather quality is just not quite there. There's a lot of plastic going on in the car, and the electronics are great. And now that I've been like living with the Apple CarPlay and the Ford system for a while, I think Ford has Chevy beat when it comes to like the infotainment center. However, heads-up display is amazing. Once you get used to driving a car with the heads-up display, it is so hard, trust me from experience, to leave it and go back to a car that doesn't have it. Also, this car has probably one of the most in-depth traction control systems I've ever seen in any car. It's not just traction control on or off. It is on or off, or track mode off, or track wet, or track dry, or just wet in general, or snow. Like, there's so many different options. It's almost like a damn Land Rover when it comes to like the amount of options you have with your traction control in here. I personally don't feel like buying this car right now, so I'm gonna keep the traction control on, because I feel like if I turned it off, I would be off the road pretty quickly. As I'm sure you can hear, this car does have rev match. My feet are way too big and the steering wheel's right in the way for me to actually heel toe in this car. But it actually does have rev match and does a really good job. The only thing I don't like about it is where the buttons are to activate it. They put them on the paddles, and it's really weird because in my mind, I keep grabbing the steering wheel to go through corners, and there's paddles on a manual car, and it's just, something's not right. I just get kind of weirded out, and I kind of want to shift with them, and then I realize I'm in a manual. It's just a really weird, I'd much rather them leave the paddles off the steering wheel and just put a button somewhere like the Porsche had to rev match. I guess they like already had them on the wheel for the automatic, and we're like, what could we do with them? The rev match button. I'm not sure on that one. That's a little weird. But besides that, it works great. And you can hear every time I downshift, I'm not touching the throttle at all. That is 100% the car doing that. And it is perfect every damn time. So you look like a pro driver, even if you have no idea what rev matching even is. Oh man, I'm so lucky there's no cops out here today, because I would be in some trouble pretty quick. No traction! You have 0 traction all the way up to 100, and then it hooks, and then it just rockets out. That's crazy. It's been a long time since I've driven a car that was spinning the tires at 80 miles an hour like it's nothing. I mean, that is a little scary. And that brings me to the end of this review. It's an amazing car, and when you factor in the price and like what you're getting for your money, I honestly don't think it gets much better. Also, visually, just look at this thing. Like, it is such a mean looking car. I don't really think for 65, 70 grand you're getting anything close to this from any other manufacturer. Maybe you get something a little bit more luxurious, but you're definitely not getting something faster and track capable. I do believe this car on a track would be an absolute beast. Is it the best bang for the buck still with the GTR on the market, the GT350 and the Hellcat? I'm gonna do a review on the Hellcat soon, but I've done a review on the 350. I own 2 GTRs. I've kind of been in everything in this price range, and for the money, I don't think it gets much better than this. So yeah, the Z06 is definitely my favorite car under 100,000. It may be my favorite car under 150,000, honestly. This definitely kind of kicks the GT350 out of its place. I'm sorry, but I had more fun driving this today on the channel than I've had in pretty much anything else I've driven on the channel. And that's saying a lot, because I've driven all kinds of shit on this channel. It's just a great car. So good job, Chevy. If you own a Z06 or this is your favorite car, I'm sure you're gonna love this video. If you're a Ford guy, I'm sure you're gonna hate this video. If you're a Mopar guy, wait for the Hellcat video. and we'll see if maybe that can dethrone it. But right now, this is definitely king. So if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. That way you guys get notified when I release new content. Comment down below what you think of the Z06, what you'd like to see in the future, what you don't like about the car, what you like about it, all that great shit. Start arguments down there. Love reading the comments, and yeah, catch you guys in the next one.